Good morning, everyone. Jan Hicks of Jan Hicks Creates here, coming at you with my very last day of Stitch Mania. It is Saturday, June 8th, 7:50 a.m. My watch still thinks I'm in Wahiwa. I really need to figure out why. It's actually the app Dark Sky that still thinks I'm in Wahiwa. So I will spend some time at some point. Of course, then I'll be in Phoenix in under a week. And we are looking forward to it. Last day of Stitch Mania. It is finally here. It has been a blast. Today I am working on a kit by Dimensions. Welcome Friends is the name. This very, very pretty grape bunch, grapevine. You have an option to put welcome and your name. They provide that alternative in the kit as well. I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to do that. Obviously, I'm just still working right here in the center. The colors in this are just so gorgeous. Now, this did come with this kind of brownish Ada. I did not like the color. I did not like the feel, the size, whatever. So yeah, I switched it out for a linen that I had in my stash. This is a 32 count linen, and I am stitching 2 threads over 2. There are a lot of blends in this, and that's what I'm using here. You can see it's a lighter green and a darker green. There's another blend here of 2 pale greens. Just all kinds of blends in this. So it's just gorgeous. I mean, look at that. Look at those colors. So pretty. And shall I say it? I love this piece. I think it was Rose that teased me on Instagram yesterday and said, Jan, you say that about every single piece. Well, yeah, I guess I wouldn't be stitching it if I didn't love it. It is hard to put it down. It's also hard to know which one of these whips to include in my rotation going forward, because I want to do them all. I want to have them all finished and hanging. So we are coming to the end, and to start with, I want to thank you guys for joining me on this journey, keeping me company. We've laughed, we've cried, we've learned a ton. I don't know about you, but I've learned a ton. And I've just enjoyed every single day. And that is because of you guys. Yeah. You know, I've said it before, I've made some really strong connections with so many people through this medium. And I feel like I've made even more now. And deepened those connections even more. So I appreciate that so much. It's been a joy. So let's see. Yesterday I worked on another kit. This gorgeous, gorgeous piece. Vitreous Art number 2. I did link to it in yesterday's video. I'll link to it in this one as well. You can get it on So and So in the UK, and I had no problems ordering it from them and having it shipped over. I got this when I was still in Maryland. So I didn't get as much done yesterday as I had hoped, mostly because I also did work on Shades of Gold. And you know, once I get started on that, I have a hard time putting it down because I love it. And I love this one. I did get more of the black filled in here. I got more of the black filled in up here and coming down here. I got this line of peachy color here. And I did get some of the purple started. So very happy with this. This one is definitely going to stay in my rotation. It really goes fast. And I think I can get this done you know, fairly quickly, as the saying goes. I would like to keep this one in my rotation as well, but, you know, like I said, you can't keep them all in your rotation, Jan, because then nothing ever gets done. I am looking forward to being able to work on a project for more than a day at a time, if you can imagine that. But I'll still probably only, you know, my rotation before was working on a project 3, maybe 4 days if I was really captivated with it. But at about the 4-day point, I was ready to change. And so I do have a pretty robust, shall we call it, rotation in my year of BAPS. But, you know, I was seeing progress. I think I had a dozen on. No, maybe I had 10 and I'm up to a dozen now. And I really don't want to add to that because I do want to see progress. And as I finish off one, then I can pull one of these other ones out. I will be, oh shoot, I hate it when I do that. I will be adding, still adding some more after I get back from StitchCon. So, I do have some more notes that I wanted to discuss with you today. The first one is a question from Kim. See, I almost pulled that floss down again. And you'll notice I'm doing more stabbing and poking today. That is because as you get into these more filled in areas, it becomes more and more difficult to kind of get your needle to go where you need it to go. And so stabbing and poking just is a little easier. So this question comes from Kim. She is kitting up for the Quaker Seasons of Friendship SAL, which starts today. And she's looking at fabric. Now she needs a 20 by 13 cut of fabric. And so her question is, if she gets a piece that says it's 18 by 27, so she needs 20 by 13. If she gets a piece that's 18 by 27, so kind of the length is the opposite direction, is that a problem? And I had to admit, I had never thought about it. I've always just positioned the fabric the way I need it to be. Now, I'm assuming that I guess the question is, I don't know how it's woven. Which is the warp length? Is it the 18 or is it the 20 by 7 or 27? I mean, I guess I don't know how linen is woven. You know, the 18 by 27 is a cut of it. Is it cut on the, what am I trying to say? I think it's a 54-inch width across on the loom that it's woven on. So the 27 is half of that. And so the 18 is the depth, the 27 is the half across the warp. So if you're turning that, you're not stitching it the way it was woven. Does that matter? Does that make any sense at all? I have never, ever thought of that. I'm not a weaver, so I don't know if it's an issue or not. So I would love to hear your thoughts on that, because I know there are people out there who know this kind of thing. And again, I am continually astounded at how much knowledge there is in the community. And I would say that's true in any, you know, if I were talking to the knitting community and asking this question, I'd get just as much knowledge, because we all participate in multiple hobbies, multiple crafts, and so we've gained knowledge from all of those different things, and I think that is just so awesome. The craft world is just, oh, and you know, I did it. This is why I don't stab and poke. I just pulled my floss out of my needle. I am not having a good morning, guys. I am headachy this morning. My eyes are not working right because I am a little headachy, and I'm just a little bit frustrated. So you can probably hear that in my voice. Grr. So, anyways, I'm interested to hear the answer of that question. Continuing on the continuing saga of my Poor Things Unseen sampler, several of you have suggested that I sew strips on. I cut out that pink flower in the middle, and sew the strips, sew fabric onto the edges of each side. Carlene and Sheila were the most recent ones to suggest this, and either make it into a wall hanging or a pillow. Carlene suggested that and said, you know, it would give me more practice with my sewing machine. And I do like that idea. So I may do that. Of course, I don't really know all the mechanics that go into, again, that kind of sewing. I'm just not familiar with it. But I know YouTube can help me out with that. YouTube is so good that way. Again, it's not something I'm even going to worry about until I get back from our trip. After today, pretty much my whole brain is going to be focused on getting ready for the trip. And boy, are we ready. We're ready to be out in the RV. We cannot wait. But I am also thinking about whether I should do a Stitch Mania wrap-up. I watched a couple of them yesterday. And like, I watched Jen's Stitching Niche wrap-up yesterday, and she didn't even show like the picture of the design. She just showed her stitching. And that would certainly make it easier, especially since I now have all of my projects in the project rolls, you know, the King Shams that I mentioned yesterday. And so it would be easier to just kind of page through that and show you my progress, because I know there's a lot of them. Well, if you've been watching my videos consistently, you've pretty much seen them all. But if you haven't, then and I know there's a lot of people that just don't care for the Stitch With Me type of videos, then it might be good to go through and show my progress on everything. So I'm gonna try and get that done. It would be easier if I didn't have to pull out the pattern. That would make it go quicker. So I'm gonna try and film that and upload before we leave. Now, I'm not making any promises because it's totally going to depend on how each of my days go. On Monday, I'll be out for a chunk of time because I have an eye appointment. Tuesday, I'll be out for a chunk of time because I have a hair appointment and some other errands to run while I'm out. So that leaves basically tomorrow and Wednesday, because Thursday we fly. Woohoo! 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, counting there. So yeah, I don't know whether it's practical or not to try and do that. Who knows? Maybe if today is kind of slow and we get our act going, maybe I can do it later today. But then, of course, I'm dealing with the heat up here in the loft. So I don't know. Anyways, what else? I wanted to mention, let's see, couple video FlossTube type things. If you haven't heard or seen, or if you don't subscribe, Nicola Parkman is, let's see, she was just at Sassy Jack's for classes, and now I think she's at the Attic for classes. And she did several videos on, one was just kind of, I haven't watched them, I've only kind of looked to see what they were, and several people have mentioned them. One was, I think, basically a tour of the Attic. That's the store in Mesa, Arizona, kind of showing what they have. And then one was looking at her linens, and the other one was looking at her silks. So 3 separate videos about the attic's stock, I guess I should say. So I haven't watched those yet, but those are high on my list of things to watch. I'm still kind of sad, not sad, that the attic is closed on the day I have my layover in Phoenix coming back. Sad because, of course, it's such a gorgeous store to go to, and it's not too far from the airport. And not sad because, yeah, I'll have already spent enough at Keepsakes. I don't need to be going into another store, especially one like the attic. So, yeah. And Mike is listening downstairs, listening to me film this, and he's probably rolling his eyes and shaking his head. What? So, yeah. The other one is I did watch a new FlossTube creator. Her name is 2 Martini Stitcher. I asked specifically if she drinks martinis while she's stitching. And she said she doesn't, but she does drink when she's doing her videos. Just a little bit. But she was fun. She has 3. When I watched the other day, she had 3 videos out. She's a I would say another returning stitcher. She had done some stitching, I think, before kids and kind of stopped and is getting back into it. So like so many of us, she's discovering the wonderful world of what cross stitch is today. So she has some neat projects. She's discovering mill hill and beads, and yeah, it's just kind of fun to watch her branching out and finding things. So I recommend her, 2 Martini Stitcher, and I will link her channel below. Let's see, what other notes do I have? Oh, so somebody commented, I found this very interesting. Let me see, do I do 2 over here? Hold on, where am I? Here, there, okay, I do 2. Coming off of my comments yesterday about don't sell yourself short, you know, the little soapbox I got on about we often get intimidated by when we look at a project and to kind of sell ourselves short and think we can't do something. So I'm gonna screw up this name. It's R-A-W-A-N. I don't know whether it's Raven, but she commented that she actually finds full coverage pieces easier and a little bit more freeing because there aren't as many decisions to make. And I asked her to clarify that for me. I could see not having a decision to make as far as, you know, if you're working block by block, you don't have to worry about, should I go here, should I go there? What's the best way to approach using this color across the piece? You know, if you're just working block by block and then parking your thread in the next block, then you don't have that kind of decision. But I wanted her to clarify what else she meant. And she wrote back and she said she doesn't have to think about fabric choice, because with a full coverage, you're pretty much just choosing usually a 25 count, maybe a 28 count over one. You don't have to worry about specialty flosses. You're pretty much only using, you know, DMC. And then I said, you know, she knows where she's going because she's just working each block at a time. So that makes it easier. I'm double checking where I'm going. Then she also said that if she happens to get a wrong color in, wait, I have to double check myself here. I am here. Nope, wrong. If she happens to put the wrong color in a block, she is not as concerned, or in a stitch, you know, just a wrong color here and there. She's not as concerned because you're not really going to notice it that much in the well, you're not going to notice it at all in the finished piece. Now, if you're using the wrong color for a lot of stitches, of course you will. But for the most part, you aren't. And she also said, yeah, that were the main things. So I thought that was very interesting in a different way, I think. Maybe not a different way of looking at it, but I don't know whether we often, you know, kind of break it down that way. So, Raven, I appreciate your input, and yeah, I say for those of you that are contemplating doing a full coverage and think it might be too much, go for it. And I'll just add here that mandala that I showed you yesterday that they made the bookmark out of, that has been on my brain all night. Oh, why do I do this to myself? Because I love to cross stitch, right? So, today I'm going to, I might try and get this leaf done, although that's probably, wait, where's the picture? Not that one. Yeah, that's probably expecting too much. Although I can see there's some lighter ones in here. This is another one that does the single strands to lighten up the effect, to affect the shading. I love that. I was going to say I may try and get this leaf done, but I think that's going to be a little bit much because I am also going to be working on, I'm probably not going to work on shades of gold at all today, but I will pull out, this is the Quaker Seasons of Friendship. So like I said, the stitch along does start today. I did start it earlier when I got my fabric and the pattern because, you know, I had to test the floss, right? And I can say the floss works beautifully. And you really aren't seeing the full gorgeousness of this floss. It is the Mrs. Sadis colorway copper. Look how pretty. Remove the cat hairs. Somebody commented yesterday that when you own cats, you learn that cat hair is just another condiment. Like, oh my God, that's so true. Oh, but look how pretty that is. So, there are still some people waiting for their pattern, I know, still gathering. Like I said, Kim is still working on her fabric. So not everybody has everything they need, but that's okay. We are going to be working on this for quite a while. If you are doing this, when you post either on Facebook or Instagram, use the hashtag Quaker, SOFSAL. That stands for Quaker Seasons of Friendship Sal, stitch along. If you are interested in getting this, you can only get it from Dying to Stitch. They are more than happy to send it anywhere in the world. We have Malaysia, 2 in New Zealand, at least 2 in Australia. I heard from somebody in Zambia the other day, but I don't think she's doing this. I think she just said hi in a comment on one of my videos. So this is so awesome. A lot of us are using the Mrs. Sadis silk, but not everybody. Anne Robbins of R&R Reproductions, and also, you know, one of the makers of the pattern, the other half of Dying to Stitch. She is doing the sal with us. She is doing it over 1 on 28 count using a Belle Soie silk. I think it's spruced is the colorway. I mean, there's just so many people. Laura, Maud and Mozart on Instagram, she had started it a while ago. She is picking hers back up and going to continue with it. So yeah, I would love for you to join us. Don't feel that it's too late to start because, like I said, there's still a lot of people are still working out. I think Tamara is still working out her fabric too. She is enjoying time with her family right now, so she hasn't gotten to that yet. But yeah, so and like I said, this is not a small piece. And this is definitely joining my rotation. So I hope you will join us. If not, enjoy watching the progress of everybody on Instagram and Facebook. Guys, again, thank you for joining me on this journey. This has been so much fun. I'm going to miss you. As much as I'm looking forward to getting back to my regular routine, I'm going to miss you guys. I'm going to miss our interaction every day. It has been fantastic. I will be back at some point with a Stitch Mania wrap-up. I will definitely be back next Tuesday with my regular FlossTube. But that probably, well, my hair appointment's at 10:30. When I come back, you know, I may just turn on the air conditioning and do my Mania wrap-up then. That's probably what would make the most sense, because I'll be talking about what I've been working on over the weekend. So look for that on Tuesday. Until then, have a fantastic weekend. And remember, always to give love, get love. I love each and every one of you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.